Today, we get to work on the Corvette. We're going to install a Valentine 1 radar. To start off, you're going to need your radar. You're also going to need any accessories that you're going to connect, like this Bluetooth module and a little positive negative harness that you have, or adapter, and any other connectors that come with the radar. Alright, to get started, here we have this mirror mount. It's a cheap alternative. I used it in my 350Z. First time I bought it, it was very good. The second time, honestly, this one's not that great, but it's all I have right now, so we're going to install it. Install's pretty easy. You just tighten up these little screws. There's two on each side that tighten it up to the top of the mirror. As you can see here, it also has other adjustments on the side, which in my case, one of them stripped out, so I'm still going to use it, but this mirror mount is honestly the cheaper alternative, which we'll probably get upgraded one day. So once it's all tightened up and ready in the position you want, then after that we can get on to running the cable that will give us power to our radar. Run the cable through your headliner and then down your A-pillar, and from the A-pillar you can run it down through the dash. But as you're running it, make sure you do not lock the front camera, this one here, if your car or Corvette comes with the PDR, the performance data recorder. So just run it through your headliner and we'll run it down through the A-pillar, and like I said, to the dash, and that's it. A very helpful tool in this job is a panel popper. As you can use a flat panel popper like this one here, and just make sure all your wire is hidden, stabbed in, so you can see I run it through there, the A-pillar, then down that area, down to the side of the dashboard, and hidden under there as well, and it should pop up under your dash. Alright, so we got our phone jack cable. I believe it's an RJ45 coming out. We ran this yesterday, last afternoon, so now you can see it's all hidden, tucked away, radar set. So now we need to focus on getting our positive and a negative. And there's multiple ways you can do this. You can do an add a fuse, but in the Corvette the fuse box is in the back, as you can see, and I do not want to take apart the interior for that. So what I'm going to do is try to tap into one of these outlets. It's a 12-volt outlet right there. I'm going to double check it's an accessory. It turns on when I turn on the accessory. There's another one over here too, but we're going to use the one that's closest to the cubby. And in some cars there's something called a smart mirror, and a lot of times there's kits they sell where you can get power off those mirrors, but I'm just going to keep it simple and get it from the outlet. To get started in the Corvette, you're going to have to pop off this panel first. You can start by grabbing here. It's got a couple clips, so you just push out, that clip pops out, these other clips pop out, boom boom. And the only problem is once you get here, be careful because there's a hook in that end, so you can't just pull straight out. You got to kind of slide back until everything's popped out. Now bust out your handy panel poppers. We'll use this flat one here to pop up this center console panel. Just gotta finesse it. Alright, I'm going to have to take this thing off. So the plan of attack is going to be running the wires down through here, the side, pull it out from under the dash, and towards the driver's side cubby, down here on the left side, and then there's where we have it. We'll connect everything. This little power distribution block is where my Bluetooth module connects, and then the other RJ45 jack that goes to the radar. So that's where we're going to connect our positive and our negative. Now that that's off, you can just tug the panel. There you go. Once you've located the wires behind the connector, you see one of them is red and the other one's black. I'm going to assume that red is positive and black is negative. You'll need to double check this in your case if you have a different vehicle with a multimeter. So here's a quick test. We can use the adapter the Valentine 1 came with, plug it into the cigarette lighter socket, and then turn it on. Now comes the fun part. So you're going to start by stripping back all that protective like Tesla tape that's on the stock wiring, those two wires. Next, you're going to strip that positive wire using automatic strippers, manual strippers, up to you. So in my case, I accidentally ripped it because it's so tight. So that's no problem. We're going to solder those together. So strip your ends. And then once your ends are stripped, make sure you get some heat shrink over them for one end. Now you're going to mechanically make a connection by wrapping them over each other.
Okay, that should be decent right there.
Alright, so now that we have those wires connected again, we're going to add our positive lead. Next, get that soldering iron ready. And we're going to solder this connection back with this added positive lead that we have. So get your iron hot. Alright, so you're going to make sure you clean that tip. After you clean it, you want to tin it and then get that iron up to the joint and start making that solder flow through that joint. Now I'm not a soldering expert, but sometimes I do have to clean my joints, so just trim off any excess that might not allow tape to be wrapped over nicely. If I had the choice, I probably wouldn't be wrapping this with tape. As you do, I suggest you find some heat shrink that's big enough to have both those wires in it. I didn't have any at the time, so tape will do. So now that we have our positive lead, we need to work on our negative lead. And you can also get negative from any grounding stud, any grounding point down in the footwell, the driver's side. So you don't have to necessarily do this, but just for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to strip the negative off of the same socket and run that alongside the positive lead. So once it's nice and soldered, we're going to get our tape and wrap that joint so that we don't have any shorting of any sorts. So once that's all done, now we're going to route our wires. In my case, I'm going to run it down the center console like this on the left side. Make sure you're not obstructing anything or you don't get it pinched in any of the clips for when the panel goes down. So I popped that little piece off there as well, and then we're going to pull it out down from here and run it under the dash down to the left side of the footwell over here. So we're going to do the same thing here. Basically strip our wire ends, prepare them, and solder them. Now don't forget that heat shrink. Now, I do not recommend that you solder over your legs like this or your seat in your car, as any excess solder will burn either your legs or right through your leather. So be careful when doing this. Make sure you have something under. Don't be as savage as me. And lastly, don't forget to shrink that heat shrink. Use either a heat gun or a hair dryer. So here's the result. I zip tied all the wires together and ran them accordingly. So now it's back to reassembly. If you have dirty panels like me, make sure you give them a little wipe down before installing them again. So now that that's all together, now you want to run this to the left side of your footwell and zip tie it so that it's all nice and fit. Alright, so this is how I ran it under here. Here it's coming out from the center console, and then I zip tied it to this wire thing, I think for the trunk or the hood release. Here you can see how I bundled it all together and zip tied it. So there it is, all done, nice and tidy, working as expected. So this mount does suck. It's stripped on one of the threads, so I'm going to be updating that, as well as adding an inline fuse, which I did not do, even though that socket I believe is already fused. But I'm going to do that in another video. Like always, if you have any questions or comments, make sure you write them down. And thank you for watching.